Hey guys, welcome. Happy Monday. I hope everybody's starting their week in a wonderful manner and had a great weekend. I am just coming back to you guys to talk about some things that are a little bit more live action and up to date than my videos. Because like things are kind of going crazy in this time as far as like financials and the economy. And for me, it was like I just can't not talk about it. Does anybody else hear what's going on? Like, am I the only one that sees it? So the first thing I want to talk about this week is Joanne Fabrics is closing all their stores. And I believe the first time I came to you guys, which I think was like in January, top of the year, Party City was closing. So it gets my mind into going into like, what is going on? Like, because if all the companies leave, the people who have the jobs leave as well. And you know, the federal government, they have at least 10,000 jobs gone within the first quarter of 2025. So it's a little eerie. Next thing I want to talk about is Walmart and their Q4 sales doing actually very well. Now, y'all know Walmart is part of DEI, right? DEI boycotting. And it made me think like, are the boycotts working? And it's looking like maybe they're not. Then I'm going to talk about debanking, which is something I did not know was a thing. And I wonder if you guys know it's a thing, but apparently it's a thing. And wrap it up with like CEO confidence is apparently high. So although we are freaking out as regular people, CEOs are high. And I wonder why. I'm not going to try to make this about the administration, the presidential administration that's going on, but I will say a lot of this stuff is tied to the cause and effect of what the administration has been doing. And we're only in month 3 of 48 months. So it's going to be interesting. If you can hear me, please say that you can hear me. That would be helpful because I have done a live before where no one could hear me. As well as I'm going to post a question. I want to know how y'all's financial goals are going in Q1 of 2025. So I'm going to write that in the chat. Also write it down in the comments if you're getting the replay version of this, because I like to be nosy and I like to talk to people about money. And that's one great thing about starting this YouTube channel is the people that care about money tend to gravitate here and we can talk about it. And we don't have to bother our family and friends who don't necessarily like to talk about those kind of things. So let me change the outlook of this. Okay, yeah. So Joanne Fabric is closing. I got my information from Newsweek because I wanted to investigate a little bit more, do some sleuthing. And according to the article, Joanne Fabric is closing all of their stores after filing bankruptcy in January of this year. And that's because people are buying more online, especially at the pandemic. Now, when we were talking about Party City in this last episode that I did, same thing was happening. And so it made me think, who is stealing their business? And the only thing that I can think about is that Amazon is stealing their business. And I think this is a consequence of Amazon being the behemoth that it is. Not so much Walmart, but I mean, I'm guilty of it. If I can get something from Amazon, I will get it from Amazon. Now, I wonder what the consequences will be, though. However, if all of those stores that we have been going to since our youth aren't available when you have to make a quick run somewhere and Amazon is not able to meet your needs. And what if we all only have Amazon? What happens after they've beaten out all the competition? I wonder if they're going to change up their kind of model in convenience, right? Because if they don't have anybody to compete with and they have all the market share, they don't have an incentive to kind of keep up the customer service. So, and looking more at the article, 25% of the malls are expected to close in the near future, as well as there was some other information that Hooters filed for bankruptcy recently in, I believe, February of 2025. So that was last month. So it just makes me think, like, what do you do if you're interested in starting your own business? Will you have to make sure that that business is Amazon proof, which probably means it's going to be service based, but that's not always true either because Amazon probably has their eyes on service based industries as well. An example of that would be pharmacy, as well as medical providers. Like they're already looking into it. So you think your job is safe, but it might not be. I thought that was food for thought. Moving on to Walmart, another behemoth in the retail world and part of everyday American life. Their revenue went up Q4 by 5.3%. And I think that's significant because they made an announcement, I believe, quickly after the election that they were no longer going to foster DEI in the workplace. And a lot of people were in an uproar. Specifically, there were a plurality of American citizens who were like, okay, well, we're not going to shop at Walmart. That is easy for some people, and I think it's hard for others. And looking at their Q4 sales now, because that comes out in the beginning of the year, it's looking that they still did very well. Now, I will say I read a little bit more about retail business than I think the average. They have done a lot of work behind the scenes with their workflow and being what do you call it? Like autonomous and not needing other people. So they made sure their workflow for online sales was as much up to par as Amazon was because they were trying to compete with them. And I think the result is that they've done all the backlogging work. So now they are reaping the benefits because they've always had the benefit of being the cheaper store. Now they're the cheaper store. Now they have online um, drop shipping. Now they allow people to be vendors through their website. So they have been able to withstand the hardships and even a boycott is looking like. Now their stocks were down 8.3% in the first quarter of this year, but they're thinking that the revenue was so much higher because other people are shopping there to cut costs. And that makes sense because, like, for instance, if you live in Florida, one of the more uppity grocery stores, some of the most uppity grocery stores are Trader Joe's, Publix, etc., right? Super expensive. If inflation gets out of control like it did a few years ago, those people are going to stop shopping there because their money doesn't go a long way. And what Walmart seems to be doing is reinvesting their sales into trying to get those people to come as well. Even if they don't see themselves as the normal Walmart shopper, everybody's a Walmart shopper when you're counting your pennies, right? So yeah, DEI cuts were announced, but they have not, at least the boycotts have not been as effective yet to affect the sales. Now, on top of that announcement, December was Christmas shopping time. So maybe there was a bump that helped their sales do well. And they were probably doing well, what was that, in October. But we'll see what Q1 of this year says because boycotts take a long time. And if people are, what do you call it, serious about it, they're going to have to make themselves uncomfortable. And that's really what happened in the 1960s Montgomery boycott because that thing lasted more than 365 days. I believe it was 361 days specifically. But yeah, like nothing happens overnight. And it's just going to come down to if people are willing to deprive themselves. And as a convenience-based society we are here in America and a plurality of the world, that's going to be hard. Am I boycotting? I am boycotting, but I'm not above buying something that I need. If I need it from Walmart, I'm going to get it from Walmart. If I need it from Target, I'm going to get it from Target. But what I will be doing is, because I'm a penny pincher anyway, them people that never saw my money like that, super crazy anyway, because I don't shop just to give people my money, right? But instead of the checks being on average for me before they were doing this foolishness of banning DEI. Let's say it was $45 to $80 every paycheck, baby. That check, I'm not every paycheck, every bill that I incur at those stores. Now that bill is only going to eat $8 and $5 because I'm only getting one thing. I'm not getting the ancillary things. I'm not getting the secondary things. I'm only getting that one thing that I need, because I also don't believe in depriving myself, being a good person, to not have things that I need. They're just not going to get anything extra from me. And that's why this being a low spend year was made easy for me, because I'm like, I'll just keep my money. If people don't respect the dollar that I give, and from people who look like me and don't want to hire the people that look like me, I'm not going to fund my own oppression. Just not going to do it. Now, did y'all know that you can be debanked? Like, your bank can literally take away your bank account. I didn't either. So when I saw this, I was like, oh, I want to talk about this, because banks apparently are closing accounts. Legally, they're only allowed to do it if they suspect fraud, which makes sense. But there seems to be a tiff between rich people in America, because banks have been accused recently of closing the accounts of people who they know are supporters of cryptocurrency. And that seems really petty, but they're doing it if they are allegedly doing it, it's because they don't want to do business with people who are supporting their business rival, because a fear of banks with cryptocurrency is that we won't need the currency we need now, which is the dollar. It'll be all digital. In doing some more of my research, according to Barron's, Bank of America has closed 37 million accounts alone in 2023. That's a lot of accounts. Now, I haven't banked with Bank of America for well over 3 to 5 years. And that's because they're a predatory bank. But the idea that they can just close your bank account, I think all of us should be cautious about, because it makes me like think that maybe, where do you put your money? And is our money safe? Like, if your bank can just close your account, I don't know. But I did make a plan to leave banks anyway next year. Again, because they tend to make, what's that word? They tend to make predatory decisions. And I don't want to fund that. I don't want to be involved in things that hurt other people, and other people could be me. So I decided that come 2026, I'm going to leave a bank. The only reason why it's not in 2025 is because I opened a new bank account, and that bank account gave me money for opening it, right? So I don't want to close my bank account and they say, well, give us back our money. So I'm going to give it at least 12 months before I leave. But yeah, after that, I'm out of there, Dad, because no. I just don't want to give a bank their money. I wish I could be my own bank. Did y'all know that the reason why we know Michael Jackson is because Berry Gordy used his family's credit union to fund it? They had a credit union way before Berry Gordy came up with the idea. And when he came up with the idea, he already had funds available to him, good and ready for him to make that investment. And I just really wish I could do that in my family. I cannot. My family's not in that position. But I think it would be cool if, when you need a car loan or you need a personal loan, you can just go to your family unit and take out a loan similar to the terms that you would with a bank, but you just take it out with your bank, with your family's bank or your family's credit union, to fund your lifestyle. I think that would be a great way to stick it to people who are predatory, because your family more than likely is not going to be predatory of you. Now, that's why I say only do it if y'all have a good relationship, but that would be so nice. I can't wait till I'm my own bank, but I'm going to need a couple of decades for that. And then the last thing is that apparently the rich guys, the CEOs, are confident about their business standings. I don't know how they could be confident. I don't think they have like long views ahead of them. I think they're only being short-sighted. But according to Investopedia, the SEC launching a task force aimed at Wait, is this right? No, that's not it. Apparently, they are um, thinking that the current administration is going to help their business. I'm not sure if that's going to actually happen, but I thought it was fitting for them to think that now that they have a president who is about number one, deregulation, about business first, people last, that their business is going to, experience a boom. But the long-term consequences is that people won't have money because money's not circulating, because a significant amount of people don't have lost their jobs. That's going to affect the business at some point. But for whatever reason, they cannot see that. And they are very short-sighted. But I often think about like how all this is going to affect us and how quick it's going to get to us, sadly. Because there are things that are going on right now, as far as like our economy is concerned, that are very jarring and could induce some anxiety if you don't try to control it. That's it, y'all. Thanks for hanging out. For the two people that are here, can y'all hear me? Can you put in a comment that you can hear me, please? And that's it. Or let me know about your financial goals going on in 2025. That works too. But as far as I like to close this show with like talking about how I'm giving myself a raise. And if you guys are in, we could talk about it, as well as like how you're giving yourself a raise. Okay, cool. Thanks. If y'all have been following my videos, I have been posting like how I'm saving for my emergency fund, because I am worried about layoffs. I work in the, the hospitality field in Florida. And there's a good amount of people who are boycotting Florida, for lack of a better word. Canadians are boycotting Florida. People who are diverse are boycotting Florida. There seems to be only one type of demographic that isn't. So I don't know. I hope I don't get laid off, but a lot of people who got laid off also hope they didn't get laid off. So that's what I'm doing right now, and it's going successfully. I will say I have had one emergency that I have had to pick up, but it's not significant. So barring anything else, I should be good and be able to save more than $300, because that's all I was able to save last year. Yet my goal was $6,000. I only saved $300. Physically, same thing, just working out, eating well. Nothing crazy. Oh, you did. Wow. WBM. You accepted the buyout. Oh, how do you feel? How long were you working for the government? Because when I was thinking, if that was me, I was like, they was going to have to kick me out. Was there an option for them to kick you out? Would you have been considered fired? And I guess the next question is, are you... Oh, okay. Perfect. You were about to retire anyway. Okay, good. Okay, good. Well, then I'm happy for you. I'm happy for you. How do your coworkers feel? Are some like forced to stay because they're not as ready as you are? Yeah, that's unfortunate. Don't worry, so am I. Tell them not to worry, so am I. I think most of us are. That's why I'm trying to give myself a raise. And mentally, how I'm giving myself a raise is refusing to overthink things. Because it's quite possible it doesn't affect me. I say that because I live in a little bit of the Lululand, and also in my life, things that were supposed to affect me didn't. So I do believe I have divine favor. Not to say that's never gonna happen and bad things can't happen to me and I can't lose my job, but I'm not gonna overthink it. And I'm just gonna prepare as much as I can. That's all I can do. That's it. Thank you so much, WBM, for hanging out with me. And um appreciate you actually like making some comments. I'm gonna try to make this every week to talk about things that are happening more real time, because my videos are a little bit more like um, thought into, but they're not really about the news. This is more like a news thing. Alrighty, so I'll see you guys next time. Let me know in the comments, how are your financial goals going in 2025? See you guys next week.